watch the age. Age will fool you. It'll trip you up. Samuel 16:7 says Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. 7 of his sons passed before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, the Lord has not chosen these. Once again, it's not what you think. It's the Lord has not chosen these. None of these 7 people, I told you to go get all your sons. You brought these 7 before me, and the Lord has not chosen these. I know I came here to choose a king, but none of these are it. None of these are it. Tell somebody around and say, none of them were it. None of them. tell them none of them was it. They was just practice. They was rehearsal. None of them was it. I'm gonna mind my business. None of these are it. And so Samuel says to Jesse, are these all the sons you have? Are these all the sons you have? He said, there's still one that's the youngest. There's still one more son that's the youngest. Well, I told you to get all of your sons. Why did you leave this one out? Because he was young. Because he was young. He was underestimated. He couldn't be the one. Matter of fact, he can't be the one because if we go get him, then he'll stop doing what we need him to do for us. We don't want him to be king because we need him to take care of the sheep. We don't want him to get elevated because we need him to do what we need him to do for us. So we left him out. But how many of you know that if God's hand is on your life, they can't leave you out? They can't, even if they try to leave you out, they can't leave you out. I believe that God will make them come get you. God will make them come with you. David was hid from the fact that the prophet existed. He was hid from the fact that the prophet existed. And he himself did not know that the prophet was there. And the father didn't want the prophet to know that David existed. He tried to hide him in the background. But you are coming to a season where you can no longer be hid. You are about to come into a season where what been holding you got to let you go. Somebody just stood up and said, that's for me right there. You are coming into a season where what have been trying to push you back has got to take his hands up off of you, and God's going to force them to come and get you. But you got to be careful. Because that age is a stage. That age is a stage for your life. And so anytime God mentions age, anytime he mentions age, it's a part of his agenda. In the Bible, when God mentions age, it's because he wants to use the age. He wants to use it to prove something that otherwise couldn't be proved. He wants to prove that his timetable is different than your timetable. Look at Abraham and Sarah, who lived to be 175 years old. God promises Abraham and Sarah he's going to have the children when he has no children. And then he tells them that you're going to do it at 100 years old. Look at somebody and say, it ain't too late. It ain't too late. It ain't too late. He says, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it after the time that you thought I would do it, so you can prove that nobody did it but God. Look at Sarah. Look at Josiah. Josiah was the youngest king of Israel. Josiah came into the kingdom at 8 years old. He's the youngest king recorded in history. 8 years old. You're never too young to be a king, to be in what God calls you to do. Look at Joseph. Joseph had a dream at 17 years old. Took 17 years before the dream manifests. Can I tell you that your dreams still have time to come true? Can I tell you that even though you think your dream has been carried for a long time, it still has time to come through? Look at Jeremiah at 17. He came into prophecy and came into the office of a prophet. Ruth, widowed at the age 20, and thought that it was over for her, but she followed her mother-in-law around until she came into a Boaz, and God still got a boo for you. He still got time to do it. Look at Esther, who saves her nation in her teen years. Who would know if God would call me to the kingdom for such a time as this? Can we keep going? Look at Mary, a young girl espoused to be married, who hears that she's about to have the son of the Most High God in her young age. Look at the young lad who gave up his lunch so that God can work a miracle in his life. You are never too old. You are never too young, because God can use your age as a part of his agenda. Look at Paul. Paul told Timothy, let no man despise your youth, but be thou an example to too old or too young or your time has already passed, God is still in the power of using your age as a part of his agenda. If you're gonna know who God chose, you're gonna have to get past your timeline because God still has time to do it.